Hello guys, welcome back. So the next tool we're going to talk about today is SQL, which is a structured query language. Excel is great for smaller databases, but when you're working with massive amounts of data, SQL is a better tool to use. This is because SQL can handle large volumes of data efficiently, and it allows for quicker querying, filtering, and manipulation. So databases in SQL are structured in tables, which makes it easier to access and manage for complex, operations. So you can learn SQL using platforms like SQLite. There's a web-based version of SQLite. Then there's MySQL. There's PostgreSQL. There's BigQuery, and they are either free or have a free version that you can work with. And they all have similar core structures. Some platforms you can learn Excel from. You can learn Excel from w3schools.com. You can learn from graceforgreek.com. So here's the roadmap for SQL. You spend the first 2 to 3 weeks learning the basics of Excel. Start by getting comfortable with the fundamentals of Excel. As a data analyst, most of your work with SQL will involve retrieving and querying data, but it is important for you to understand the structure and organization of stored data as well. So having a basic knowledge of how tables are created, how data is stored, and the relationships between data items will give you a better grasp of how databases function, so how to manipulate them when necessary. So you're going to learn how tables are created with the create command, the alter, and the drop commands. Then you're also going to learn how to do basic SQL commands like select, from, and where. Next, you'll learn to filter data with conditions using operators like equal to, greater than, less than, and like. Then you sort data with the order by clause, and then you'll learn to use the limit clause to limit your results. So your goal here is to be able to create a new table, drop an unwanted table, retrieve basic data from a table, filter your results based on specific conditions. Next, spend 3 to 4 weeks mastering SQL clauses and joins. Understanding how to combine data from multiple tables is critical in SQL. Often you will need to retrieve columns from multiple tables for your analysis using different types of joins. So you're going to focus on mastering, these joins and advanced querying techniques. So here you're going to learn to use SQL clauses like group by and having for grouping and filtering data. You'll learn the different types of joins, which are the left join, the right join, the inner join, and the full outer join. Below is a link to the video that I'd already done on some of these joins and how to use them. Then you will learn aggregate functions like the count, the sum, the average, the minimum, the maximum. Your goal is to be able to perform data analysis across multiple tables using joins, and then be able to apply, aggregate functions to summarize your data, as well as being able to group and filter your data. Now spend the next 2 to 3 weeks practicing what you've learned using real data sets. Sites like SQLZoo, which is a free online interactive SQL tutorial that covers the basics of SQL, including the syntax, the queries, and the data manipulation. You can use resources like Kaggle as well for downloading data sets and then practice and query. So your goal is to perform analysis on real data sets, extracting meaningful insights using SQL queries. Don't worry if you make mistakes, it is part of the process. Next, you spend 3 to 4 weeks learning advanced SQL functions and subqueries. Now it's time to dive into more advanced SQL queries, which are crucial for complex data analysis and tasks. So here you're going to learn subqueries, which are queries within a query. They are used for filtering or summarizing data. You also learn Windows functions. So you'll learn Windows functions like the row_number, the rank, the lead, and then the lag. These are used for advanced data analysis. So this is useful for trending. They are useful for trending and ranking. You also learn CTEs, the common table expressions. You learn the with clause for making complex queries easier to read. You also learn the case statement, which is the conditional logic within SQL. Your goal is to understand how to break down complex problems into subqueries, Windows functions, and CTEs for advanced reporting and then data manipulation. Next, spend 2 to 3 weeks learning database management basics. Understanding how databases structures will help you maintain data integrity and efficiency. You're going to learn database design, that is the tables, schemas, the relationship between tables, i.e. the primary and the foreign keys, then indexing and how they help to speed up queries. Then you'll also learn the data types, understanding the best type of different kinds of data, the integer, the strings, and the dates. You also learn constraints, that is ensuring data accuracy with not null, unique, default. Your goal is to understand how databases are designed and structured to support effective querying and analysis. So now the next step is to spend 2 to 4 weeks learning how to integrate SQL with other tools. Often you would have to use more than one of these tools per project. You may start your project in SQL and end up in Power BI for visualization. So it is important to know how all these tools integrate together. So you are going to expand your skills and learn how to integrate SQL with other tools, especially Excel that you've already learned, and making your analysis more dynamic and versatile. So you can start your analysis in SQL, get all the tables that you need, and then export your tables to Excel and do your visualization using the Excel charts and graphs. So it's possible to do that. So this is where you learn how to use SQL with other tools. Your goal is to understand how SQL integrates with other tools commonly used by data analysts. So when you have a broader knowledge of all the tools, you can now come back and look at how to integrate SQL with Python, or SQL with Power BI, or SQL with any other tool that you've learned. Finally, you're going to spend the next 4 weeks building an SQL project. You need to solidify your skills with real-world projects. So today we've covered topics you should focus on in your SQL journey as a data analyst. Next up, we'll discuss the fun part, which is visualization and building the popular dashboards using Power BI. So I'll see you soon.